Well, here we are, guys. We've made it to a milestone day, day number 100. When I started this journey on the 17th of March this year, I wasn't really sure how things were going to pan out. I embarked on a pretty daunting task, if I'm completely honest. I didn't know whether I had it in me or I didn't know how things were going to play out. But on that date, I decided I was going to get my head around marketing. And the way I was going to document my journey and keep myself motivated was to show up every single day over the course of 12 months and create, record, post a podcast episode every single day. It's been a fantastic journey so far. I've learned so much in the last 100 days. And today I want to share the 6 biggest takeaways that I've taken so far. If you've been finding yourself feeling a little bit stuck in a bit of a rut, not sure how to start to get yourself back on track and to start building momentum again, I've put together a 5-minute daily planning and continuous improvement checklist that might be exactly what you need to get yourself back on track. It's pretty simple. There's 4 or 5 different steps there. I've got it outlaid on a simple Google document. There's a little 5-minute video just describing how I've used these techniques myself. And it might be just exactly what you need to get yourself back on track. If this sounds interesting, simply let me know. Let me know in the comments or reach out. Let me know in whatever way makes most sense to you. Just let me know where to send it and I'll send it straight through. Hello and welcome back to a very special episode of the From Zero to Marketing Hero podcast. My name's Paul Heron. I'm a life coach and entrepreneur. And 100 days ago, I set off on this adventure to create, post, upload a podcast episode every single day to document my journey to spending a year understanding marketing, getting my head around marketing and documenting my journey along the way. And today's no different. Today's all about sharing the 6 biggest lessons or the 6 biggest takeaways that I've gained from the last 100 days of showing up and doing this. So without any further ado, let's get into today's episode. The first lesson that is vitally important for me to start with is something that's really been on my mind for a very long time. Over the last 5 years and even beyond that, in my corporate days, I had continuous improvement methodologies drilled into me, both in my training courses I did, the work itself. I continue to think this way. And in the early days, when I first started this journey, I had a really interesting chat with a friend of mine who raised the marketing principle of the RDIE principle, which is research, develop, implement, and evaluation, and just rinse and repeat this process. And the reason I found this so fascinating as I entered this journey is because it's effectively exactly the same as what I've been talking about. It's the same as the process that I am giving away at the start of this episode. It's all about building this positive cycle that almost pulls us towards the things that are most important to us. It's about deciding what we're going to be doing next. It's about trusting ourselves with our ability to be able to follow through and take action. It's about getting curious on all feedback, good, bad, indifferent. Things will go to plan, things won't. But that ability to be able to lean in with curiosity and tease out the feedback. And then it's about improvement. It's about learning lessons and figuring out where we can double down on things that do work and change and pivot and alter course where we need to as well. And just continuing to build this forward cycle of momentum into everything that we do until we ultimately can't help but hit our goals. I think this is huge. And not only for marketing, but for everything that we do. This is just such a vital piece of that foundational work that we need to get right, get this mindset right, and we can achieve everything. The second lesson that I have gained through this experience so far, through the last 100 days, is that with marketing, I've had to move away from what I think is the best solution, because it's not me that decides. I need to continuously keep coming up with hypotheses. I think that's a word. I'm not sure. I hope it is. But I need to keep coming up with the ideas that I want to test. So my job is to come up with various different messages, adverts, whatever it is that I think might land with my perfect ideal client. And I need to test. And that's all I'm doing. I'm testing and testing and testing and ultimately trying to beat my previous results. And the way that this is most recently playing out for me is I've been toying with Facebook advertising, creating content, and I've been applying this exact thing. There are videos that I think are better than others, but when I test them against each other, I'm very surprised by the results that I'm getting. So turning off the ones that aren't actually getting the results I want, keeping the ones on that are performing best, and just continuing to try and beat the results that is my previous best. And that's just a perfect example of how this applies. So yeah, number 2 is moving away from what we think is the best solution to actually letting the market decide, testing our ideas and applying this continuous improvement mindset, which was step number 1. The third lesson that has been really powerful for me to understand, and very much following on from the first 2, is understanding the value in knowing the problem that I'm trying to solve in any given moment. The way that this best shows up for me is with my existing system, the system I'm moving away from, the pay-to-play Bark lead buying system that I've spoken about in previous episodes. I know my formula. I know with certainty how many leads I need that'll convert into X amount of conversations, into X amount of sales calls, and ultimately into X amount of clients into my business. I have certainty on what that mathematical formula looks like. Now, I'm going into this brand new challenge where I'm trying to get my head around taking ownership of marketing, where I'm trying to cultivate my own message, trying to attract attention, trying to figure out the problems and challenges that my perfect client is experiencing. And ultimately what I'm trying to do is I've got a strategy that I'm putting in place. So my overall marketing strategy for now is to produce value-driven content. First and foremost, these 3 to 5 minute videos, I'm trying to generate 25% views that I can then retarget. I'm also trying to create reels, 60-second reels that are advertising or promoting value-driven giveaways. Small solutions to small problems that will hopefully provide a ton of value in and of themselves, but potentially even as well as highlight the next challenge that hopefully they will continue to start conversations around. But I need to be really conscious of the specific part of the formula that I'm trying to get to the bottom of in any given moment. So right now in my journey, I'm 100 days in. I've already discovered some stuff. I know how much I can get 25% views for. I know how much it's costing me now. I know how much I need to invest to get my desired number of 25% views. I know this is part of the formula that's taking shape. Where I'm at right now is how I start conversations. So I want to be starting. My goal at the moment is to produce these reels that I will then get people making comments on in the comment section. I will then start conversations and hopefully bring people into Messenger, into sales conversations and beyond. That's the ultimate goal. But right now, the problem that I'm trying to uncover is what's my strategy? What's the type of content that I need to make that's going to get me a reliable number of conversations started? And it's starting to happen. I'm starting to have these conversations, which is fantastic. But that's the particular challenge I'm trying to work through at the moment. So right now, I know how much these 25% views are. I know that once I start retargeting, which I'm doing at the moment, my next step in the next piece of the puzzle I'm trying to uncover is, how to go about creating these conversations. And, just knowing that specific part of the puzzle that I'm trying to create, knowing what it is, means I don't need to worry about everything else. I can just focus on one piece at a time. But, that is a huge takeaway for me. And it's a huge lesson, just knowing that there's a problem out there waiting to be solved, being really clear on what it is, and specifically in this moment, what's the piece of the puzzle I'm trying to get to the bottom of. That's been huge. So I hope that makes sense. If that remains unclear, reach out, let me know. I would love to have a conversation and explain it in a little bit more detail. The fourth lesson that I have taken from this first 100 days of going down this path and this journey so far is the power that can come with really letting your authentic self shine, letting your authentic voice be heard, and overcoming any of the resistance that we might have towards showing up and being our authentic self. This is huge. This is something that, if you've been following along, you've most likely heard me talk about this, but this is something that I've had a lot of resistance to in the past. Even just showing up on my personal social media feeds has been a bit of a challenge at times. If I go way back, getting onto phone calls, any phone call was a challenge if I go back far enough. As I start my business, sales calls, there was anxiety, there was worry. So overcoming some of this stuff, and the strategies that I've applied are literally just putting the practice in. Doing this type of work has been huge. I have gone to Toastmasters, which is another thing that I would recommend to anyone that really wants to find their voice and start trusting themselves. Another one is just not looking around me at what everybody else is doing and just trusting myself with the content that I am trying to create, showing up every day and going through this process, as well as just that confidence that comes, I guess, from knowing that I have what it takes to be able to do this stuff. It's chalk and cheese looking at where I feel like I am now to where I was 12 months ago, 5 years ago. If I picture myself back then, I could not imagine that I would be in this place where I am right now, trusting myself with a handful of minutes preparation, hitting record, and doing these recordings in one take, and everything that comes along with this. It's just something I could not have done. So, that idea about letting that authentic self shine through and trusting your authentic self is huge. No one else out there can do you as well as you can. And if you are trying to copy anybody else, the very best you can get to is the second best version of them. So, it's huge. This is a huge point that I would really encourage anyone who's wanting to take these steps and go down this path, should pay attention to. The fifth lesson very much follows on from the previous lesson, and it's something that's really come to light over the course of the last week or so. It's quite recent that this has come to light. In the last lesson, I spoke about authenticity and the value in just trusting yourself to be you. Step number 5, or the lesson number 5 that I want to share, is the idea that letting your authentic self run the show isn't necessarily what's going to take you towards your goals. And I think this is huge. We have the ability to be able to just accept who we are, and we have the ability to be able to adjust our expectations. And, if we're truly authentic, if we start to feel resistant, we start to feel anxiety and stress, truly authentic self might say, well, it's okay. We don't have to continue down this path. And while that is very true, I think there's a value that we can bring to being disciplined in the way we show up and do the things that we've committed to do. And it's a little bit different to just being authentic. I think it's more about pre-deciding the actions that we are going to take and being really clear on where we find ourselves right now, what the goal is that we're working towards, understanding why we're committing to do the things that we are committing ourselves to doing, and then working backwards to figure out the specific actions we need to take, and then being disciplined to follow through on those actions. And maybe it's because I've now got to that point where I'm now 100 days in. At the very start, motivation was there. It was, I was feeling fantastic every single day. The longer I've been at this journey, a couple of things actually. The longer I've been at this journey, the more value I can see in sticking it out to the end. But the more I approach this on a day-to-day basis and not always feel absolutely motivated to turn up and do the thing. And if I'm just listening to that authentic self, it might be, well, it's okay. I don't have to worry about what anyone else is doing. I can just decide to not do this. But having that discipline that I have made a choice to do this and I can see the value in doing this and I'm committed to showing up and doing this. I just don't want to be thinking about it. It's pre-decided. I just wake up every single day and I allocate specific time in my calendar to doing this stuff. And whether I feel 100% or whether I'm feeling a bit off, I just turn up and do the thing. And in the last 100 days, absolutely, there's been a few days where I just didn't feel right. I didn't feel up for it. I could have easily quit, but I have committed. I've taken the action and done it. And I'm now able to, 100 days in, reflect back and be very proud of the fact that I've turned up and done 100 days. The fact that I've done 100 days now gives me added confidence that I can see this through for a whole year. And there are so many benefits that come from challenging ourselves and pushing through some of the discomfort that comes with approaching things that are going to lead to our growth. So, I think the authentic self and letting our authentic self out is absolutely something we need to be conscious of, but combined with the discipline to do the things that we commit to doing. So getting the balance right there is huge. And the sixth and final lesson very much follows on from what I was just talking about there, but it's just to approach this whole exercise as the practice. The results aren't the driver, the number of viewers aren't the driver, the conversations that get started directly from this podcast aren't the driver. The driver is that this is the practice that I have committed to for the next 12 months or for the next 265 days now that I'm 100 days in. And that's what this is about. For me, yes, I hope that I will improve my skills, my storytelling skills, my ability to be able to comfortably show up on camera and do interviews and whatever else comes from this. My ability to also be able to create compelling, value-driven content like I discussed earlier in Facebook ads and the like. But it is the idea that this practice is the goal. The goal is nothing else but showing up and doing the thing that I have made a commitment to. And I think this is huge. Having this continuous improvement mindset, knowing that I am trying to take the lessons out of every single episode I do, improve every single day, even if it's a small 1% improvement, that is going to build over time. It's going to compound into really meaningful progress. And I can already see it. I can see it. I had a quick look at some of the earlier episodes I did, and I can see it coming through. I can feel the discomfort in some ways showing up. And I don't know how it comes through from your end watching now episode 100, but it's definitely becoming more comfortable for me, and I'm just excited to see where this takes me and where it lands in the end. So find your practice, find whatever it is that you're committing yourself to. Look at it as a practice that will take you to the bigger and better things that you're looking to find. Well, I might leave it there for today. But before I go, I did want to share one last bonus, if you will. I've made it through 100 days of this commitment to showing up and doing the thing that I've committed myself to 100 days straight. Now, if I can do this, you can do this as well. You can find the thing that you're passionate about, find the thing that is your spark, and make that commitment. Make that commitment to show up, put the practice in, and do the thing. And, I just want to wish you all the best in your own journey. Hopefully you can keep following on this journey. There is just so much more to come. As I mentioned, I feel like I'm 100 days in now, but in some ways I'm only just getting started. There is so much more that I want to achieve, both from this podcast, in my business, and in my marketing skills in general. There is progress being made, and I can't wait to see where it goes. I would love to start a conversation with anyone who resonates with this message, anyone that would like to start that path down their own journey. Reach out and connect. The best way to find me is to head over to my website, paulheronlifecoaching.com. That's Heron with one R, Heron. Head over there. There's a few different ways you can reach out. Just make contact. Let me know. If you are finding yourself feeling a little bit stuck, unsure how to start making progress again or get yourself back on track, my 5-minute a day daily planning continuous improvement tool might be exactly what you need to start making progress again. It's specifically designed for busy entrepreneurs to try and find that balance across all areas of life. There's 4 simple steps that you can follow on a daily basis. It doesn't take more than 5 minutes, and it really can be the difference between the uncertainty of not knowing what to show up and do and starting to build this continuous improvement mindset. I think it's huge. And if you're interested and want a copy, just reach out, let me know where to send it, and it's all yours. Finally, I just want to say, if you are enjoying the show, please consider hitting subscribe. It does go a long way in helping to share the show with a wider audience and get the word out, which is what this is all about. So I'd be forever grateful if you could hit that pause button for a moment and hit subscribe. And until tomorrow, have a fantastic day today, and I'll be back tomorrow with episode 101. Bye for now.